7 p.m. live this Wednesday, March 27, 2024. You're watching Keep It in the Ring, Eastern Time, of course. I'm Rich Mancuso. Thank you all for tuning in live on my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso, on the AGT Network, and on Facebook on Keep It in the Ring and other social media platforms. Like, comment, most of all, subscribe. It's for free if you're joining us for the first time. And for those who continue to support us and me, thank you very much. We give you the boxing. We give you the pro wrestling, some MMA, and much more every week here on Keep It in the Ring. Contact me, Rich Mancuso, on my social media platforms. On the bottom of the screen, it's scrolled. X, formerly Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. And, of course, again, on the live platforms, like, leave your comments, and subscribe. And scrolling are some of the significant fights coming up in the next week or so at the bottom of your screen. If you're a boxing fan and got all the passion like I do, you don't need to be reminded. You know where to find the fights. And this weekend, there is a big one on debut. We're going to get into it right away. Carl Roberts is behind the scenes, my able and great producer. You'll hear from him at the bottom of the hour more. A lot of pro wrestling talk tonight, folks. If you're into pro wrestling, we got a lot, as you know, if you follow the script. As you know what I'm saying with WrestleMania season. Well, baseball season starts tomorrow officially here not in New York, we're rained out, but everywhere else around the country. But it's always boxing season, and we are getting into the height of it, my friends, right now, including this big one is we've been talking about for months. It finally debuts. The Amazon pay-per-view, Amazon Prime, and the PBC make their debut Saturday night, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. And, of course, this card had been changed. We'll talk about Keith Thurman in a moment. Instead, we now have the main event. Katazu's vacant WBO junior middleweight titles up for grabs and the WBC title against the towering inferno, Sebastian Fundora. And there they are. They met during the week. This has been fight week, all types of media events. Of course, the final press conference is tomorrow. The weigh-in is Friday. During the week, they had public workouts, and there you see the difference in height. The difference, though, towering inferno is about 6'8", so they say, and Cruz that much smaller, but stock and built and fast. This becomes the main event now because Keith Thurman had to pull out with the torn bicep injury. But let's look at this fight. Let's analyze Fundora and Katazu. That's not Pitbull Cruz. That's coming up next. There I go, my first blunder. I think I said it was Pitbull Cruz. They look alike, though, don't they? But Katazu making his debut in the United States out of Australia. And Fundora got on the boxing scene quick, defeating one opponent after another before sustaining his first loss in his back. And now, all of a sudden, put into the spotlight as the main event, Amazon pay-per-view on Saturday night with the PBC. Many criticize Fundora because of his lanky size. And yeah, look at him. He doesn't show much muscle, but he can take a punch. And his footwork, as I always say with a fighter, is excellent. And he can throw a punch pretty well to the body when he has to. But look at the size disadvantage. Katazu says that's not a problem. He's adjusted to a new opponent. The new opponent, because Keith Thurman had to pull out, as you know, a week or so ago because of a torn bicep he sustained in the gym. And the latest on Keith Thurman, who made a public statement. Keith Thurman thanked the fans for their continued support, apologized, and thanked everyone. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's look at the co-main event as we put up Rolando Romero, the ever-exciting Rolando Wally Romero. There he is working out during media day this week in Las Vegas as he gets Pitbull Cruz, who went the distance with Gervonta Davis a year or so ago. Now, Romero is favored. Cruz, but it's not a heavy favorite because Cruz did what he had to do and almost cemented all the odds and almost took Gervonta Davis' title when they fought and went the distance 12 rounds. Romero's used to being in a fight, and Romero's used to going the distance, and this fight has the makings of being a good one. Styles make fights now, and this one looks like to be in that category. It's for Romero's WBA junior welterweight title. Romero's style, well, you got to figure it out. Sometimes in the orthodox stance, sometimes can go southpaw, but Romero levels a nice punch. Romero works the ring well. Romero can fight, and so could Isaac Pitbull Cruz. But this fight is now still the co-main event on a stacked PBC Amazon Prime pay-per-view card. Now, you want to shell out the money for pay-per-view, you're going to see a good one, folks. And I like the fact that a lot of the Showtime announcing crew is returning to do PBC Amazon Prime fights. Mauro Ranallo, who I hoped would be with us tonight, could not make it. Adnan Mears will be there. Joe Goosen becomes the analyst who did PBC on Fox and Showtime. You know, the renowned trainer, Joe Goosen. And Brian Custer will host the show. But no Al Bernstein, minus from Showtime Championship Boxing. But it looks like Amazon Prime is using most of the old Showtime crew, which makes lots of sense. So Romero Cruz, a good one. And you're going to have the new main event again, where you have a fight of interest because Sebastian Fedor is getting his title opportunity unexpectedly. Can he handle that big spotlight? Folks, I think he can. I think he will handle it well. Costazudo, that tough Australian who can finish you off quick, has a great style, great ring generalship, and I don't know if this fight will go the distance. And if it does go the distance, what will the three judges say? It should be a good one because Fundora has that lanky style. As far as Keith Thurman, well, he provided fans an update a few days ago. He went for the surgery, went very well. The torn bicep. I know we have a photo image of that, Carl. There it is. Keith Thurman, of course, very despondent about what occurred. And on a video message to his fans on Instagram and social media, apologized for what occurred. Unexpected torn bicep injury. It's going to keep him out for about 6 months or maybe longer. And then the medical report was also posted. Keith Thurman there. You can see it is legit. And you saw the image, he had the surgery, so no excuses. He didn't pull out because of this or that. A legitimate injury from a real champion, Keith one-time Thurman, who my friends feel will be on the comeback trail as soon as that bicep is healed and he gets the go, that he is conditioned to fight again. Best of luck to Keith Thurman. He says he'll be there at ringside watching it all, and I wonder what's going through his head because he was going to be the main event trying to take Costazudo's title. But that's not the case right now. Unexpectedly, as I said last week, and as I write about, fighters sustain injuries just like any other athlete. And many times it doesn't happen during the course of a battle in the ring with two fighters. It happens in the gym where they train. And unfortunately, Keith Thurman sustained this injury at the wrong time of his career because he was making the comeback. And I'm sure he will again. But when he does, where will the title picture be at 154 where he was supposed to debut? That is the question. Good one, though, Saturday night. If you're getting it, pay-per-view, Amazon, PBC, Prime, debut. And I'm looking forward to it. Saturday night should be interesting. All right, a lot of news. And it's always centering around you-know-who, and we'll get to him in a moment. I'm not even going to mention the name yet. You know what I'm getting at. Let's look, though, at the other one, the face of boxing, Canelo Alvarez. Let's take a look. Take a look what developed with Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez. This time, Benavidez going at war with Canelo Alvarez. Of course, Benavidez sees it, as we all do, that Canelo Alvarez has been avoiding the fight, which will probably never happen now that Canelo's staying at 168 and Benavidez has moved up to light heavyweight and has a June 1st opponent and all set to fight. So, you know, Canelo and then Benitez, obviously adversaries because of this issue. But Benitez posted this week on his social media all three excuses made by Canelo, and says that not only have his fans lost faith in him, they are leaving his side and coming to Ben Benitez. This, according to another social media post, and I've been able to verify that is true. But Jose Ben Benitez is now on the warpath with Canelo Alvarez. Let's take a look at this other image and what further, further examines the issue here. Because Ben Benitez is saying now, let's take the fight to Saudi Arabia, that the Saudis will pay a lot of money in their kingdom for a fight with Ben Benitez and Canelo Alvarez. In fact, you heard the back and forth. $250,000 purse, $500,000 purse? No, we're talking $250 million purse. That's what they say, supposedly. But Ben Benitez says, I will donate my entire purse to any kid's charity of your liking. When I beat Canelo Alvarez? It's not a point of when he will. He probably never will get the chance to do that. It is obvious that Canelo Alvarez has avoided David Ben Benitez for the last 2 years, a fight that would have been highly anticipated in the boxing world. Now, let's look at this. Let's examine this. Canelo is a viable champion. Unified all the titles at 168, has held those titles. But again, as I always say, he handpicks and chooses who he wants to fight next. And David Ben Benitez is not the one that he wants, because he knows very well, and I respect Canelo Alvarez, that David Ben Benitez could dethrone Canelo Alvarez. That's what it's about. Canelo has his eyes, though, of course, on Jaime Munguia, unification title. That May 4th, Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas. That's where he's going. Ben Benitez has moved on from this, but is still showing some bitterness as to why Canelo Alvarez has never made the call. And again, it's obvious Canelo is avoiding David Ben Benitez, a fight, unfortunately, that boxing will never get to see, as Ben Benitez vies for titles in the light heavyweight division and could be in line, as we're looking at it now, to fight the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. June 1st, they fight in Saudi Arabia to unify the 175-pound titles. Ben Benitez, assuming he prevails, will get the next shot at those titles and could say goodbye, Canelo Alvarez, unless Canelo wants to say, no, I want to go back to light heavyweight, which he can't do. He can't handle it. He couldn't beat Bivol 2 years ago. He was annihilated by Dimitri Bivol. So that's not happening at all. But that remains to be seen where Canelo Alvarez goes, assuming he holds the titles against Jaime Munguia on May the 4th. Boxing is this perplexing, interesting storyline as much as pro wrestling is, my friends. As fighters now make their own fights on social media instead of doing the pen and paper deal and talking to promoters and managers where they go next. It's a different era. It's a different world from when I started covering this sport 42 years ago. And for many new to this, you're starting to see how social media plays a role. More and more, social media playing a role in boxing with fighters who go after each other back and forth, and then the fights are made. Adversaries at the beginning of this, and then hugging it out at the end. You got to love it, don't you? That's why we keep it in the ring. And we move on to our other problem child, who continues to be a social media nut job. I respect Ryan Garcia for his fighting ability. I don't respect what he does on social media. Take a look. First, let's look at the good side. The latest Ryan Garcia escapades of social media the past week and past few days. All right. Carl, put up first how Ryan made peace with Canelo Alvarez. There is an image we have of Canelo and Ryan Garcia back then. We have that, Carl. We can put that up. And you'll see, there you go. That's a younger Canelo. Oh, there's, I don't know if that was recent or a year ago. So, but anyway, Ryan Garcia on social media said, put everything aside. I have nothing respect for Canelo Alvarez. I idolized him as a Mexican growing up, Mexican American Ryan Garcia is. The two of them, and they've talked. And whatever was said, what Ryan said about Canelo, it's all in the background now. They are friends. That was number one of the week for Ryan Garcia, who should be more focusing on his fight with Devin Haney if it goes on April 20th at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. All right? But then Ryan Garcia continues to tweet these awkward, make some of them cryptic, some of them very outspoken, controversial messages on social media. What makes you wonder about his mental ability. Why the New York State Athletic Commission, as I said last week and is known, has said that they would prefer Ryan Garcia go for a psychological test before he goes in the ring April 20 against Devin Haney for that 140-pound title. And Garcia says if they mandate it, he's going to sue the New York State Athletic Commission. Haven't heard the latest on that, my friends. Haven't. Maybe the New York State Athletic Commission has had second thoughts on it. But here's another X, or it used to be Twitter, tweet from Ryan Garcia. All of a sudden, he's talking about being celibate. Leave me alone on his Twitter and Instagram account. No sex, he says to Ryan Garcia says. No women around him. Yet we see women around him on social media talking to him when he's jogging and everything else. That's number one. That blew my mind. Carl, put the other one up. Look at this one. This is about an account saying he wants to show his support to women, helping them fulfill their cosmetic desires. Is that what he says? What does he mean? What does that have anything to do with his fight with Devin Haney? Come on, Ryan Garcia, what are you doing? And then this one. This from yesterday. Unfortunate catastrophe in Baltimore. The Francis Scott Key Bridge. The collapse of the bridge. Ryan Garcia, of course, had to send out a tweet. Or X, whatever it is right now. And and he says this. There are times, I forget, put that up again, Carl. My vision. I missed it. There are times I forgot what I say. And what he says is he predicted the catastrophe. And if you look at the bottom, he says, the catastrophe of this bridge collapse that took 6 lives. He predicted this catastrophe. So in other words, Ryan Garcia has now become Mr. Fortune Teller. He can predict the future. Well, you know what, Ryan Garcia, instead of doing that, instead of belittling, and instead of not saying condolences to the lives lost, focus on your fight. Okay? And if you want to be a prognosticator or want to look into the future and be a fortune teller, tell us how you're going to beat Devin Haney instead of putting up tweets and Instagram posts like that. Very, very disturbing coming from Ryan Garcia, which makes it again known. Is his mental state 100%? Is he capable to be in that ring with Devin Haney on April 20th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York for a significant and anticipated title fight for the sport? That remains to be determined. You still hear a lot of skepticism about Ryan Garcia's mentality, and you see it more and more every day, numerous times a day, with his very disturbing post on social media on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. And we don't know if it's going to stop. No one's putting an end to it because he won't listen to anyone but himself. What are your comments on this, folks? Let me know. Comment, like, subscribe. AGT Network, my channel on YouTube. I'll keep it in the ring page. We're live right now. What do you think of Ryan Garcia's post on X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. It doesn't stop, and I'm sure next week we'll have more that would like to talk more about his fight with Devin Haney than all this. But this cannot be ignored because it's out of hand. It's ridiculous. So we have to talk about it, unfortunately. Moving on. The heavyweight division still making news. Forget about Tyson, about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. I don't even want to go into that anymore because now everyone is saying Tyson must wear headgear for this fight at 58 years of age against Jake Paul on Netflix in mid-July. Another extravaganza spectacle. And many are saying Tyson shouldn't get in the ring with Jake Paul. If he does, and it's going to happen for sure, wear the headgear. That still hasn't been determined. Make it an exhibition that all it would be. And hopefully Jake Paul, although Mike Tyson looks great. Ryan Garcia, by the way, been showing a lot of his videos also on his social media handles, how great condition he is. And he looks like a humanoid monster. But Jake Paul, not much of his training in the background. We don't see that. A lot of Mike Tyson pounding the bags, and he looks like the 21-year-old Mike Tyson, not 58 years of age. But anyway, the heavyweight division gets more interesting in Saudi Arabia on the Beterbiev Bivol main event on the Zone on June 1st because we're getting Deontay Wilder and Zhang. There they go. It was announced this week, June 1st, Saudi Arabia, Wilder against Zhang. For Deontay Wilder, he needs a win to be relevant in this heavyweight title division picture because Zhang coming up with a loss to Joseph Parker. So they'll battle it out on the Beterbiev Bivol undercard in Saudi Arabia. Good fight for the boxing fans. And before the mid-May encounter with Usyk and Tyson Fury to unify the heavyweight championship. Hopefully that fight is still on. In Sheffield, England over the weekend, we saw Dalton Smith with the fifth round knockout, super lightweight. We remained 16-0 with 12 knockouts over the three-time title challenger Jose Zapata. The right hand to the belly did it. If you saw the fight, you know what I'm talking about. Dalton Smith is known, but not known because he fights a lot in the UK and in Ireland, those areas. And now with that win over Zapata in the super lightweight division, undefeated 16-0, 12 knockouts, Zapata with a good punch and good hit to the belly as he did, and the right hand is very effective, has a shot to make some news now and in the title mix. Good win for Dalton Smith. Some boxing news the last couple of days. We'll go around some more. Jose Ramirez versus Francis Barthelemy, April 27. Of course, Ramirez, the two-division champion. That's going to be in Fresno, California. Ramirez it will be with his debut after being with Top Rank. He's now with Matchroom. He's going to be with Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya. That's going to be on the Zone. That's official now. Ramirez fought twice since his lone defeat. He's back in the ring. And that's a fight to Ramirez Barthelemy. If you know both of them well, you know that's going to be a good encounter coming up. In Liverpool, an announcement about Liverpool fighter Joe McGrail with Matchroom Boxing and the Zone, April 27. Put that up, Carl, about Joe McGrail, 21 years of age, 9-0. Matchroom has signed his featherweight contender. He's undefeated, young, 21 years of age, at 9-0. On the Zone, April 27, making his debut with Matchroom. And this Friday night, coming up Friday night, Top Rank ESPN Plus, Glendale, Arizona, at the Footprint Center. Not the Footprint Center. It's in Glendale, the other arena there. They got so many in that area. A good one to watch on the Plus at ESPN Plus if you have it. Leon Wilson, junior lightweight, against the former Division 2 division champ, Oscar Valdez. 12 rounds. That'll be, you want to see that one on ESPN Plus to get your boxing, taste of boxing this weekend on the Plus, ESPN Top Rank card Friday night. And according to ESPN, my good friend and colleague Mike Coppinger reports that Bam Bam Rodriguez and Juan Francisco Estrada will have a June 9th 2019 counter for Estrada's 115-pound title. Bam Bam, of course, the unified champ at 112, going up in weight. and that's going to be on the Zone and Matchroom as well. So the fights are being made, my friends. The names and the fights and the dates on the calendar filling up. More of them every day, or at least 2-3 a week. Watch your boxing calendar. We'll do our best to inform you. And, of course, you can go to all the social media pages, you know as well as I do. Bam Bam Rodriguez and Juan Francisco Estrada for Estrada's 15-pound title. What do you think of that one? Because these are the two smaller fighters in boxing, and the division that's always exciting. They go at it pound for pound. They go at it fist for fist. They're fast, they're quick, they fight in close, and they always provide the boxing fan with the best fight that can be, and maybe better than all the other superior divisions in the sport. This one promises to be a good one on June 29th. All right, our Hall of Fame promoter friend Don King, who I go back with years ago. Don't keep in touch with him when I like to. He's still in the news. He's still relevant, not very relevant, but still out there promoting fights and signing fighters. Well, Don King, the Hall of Fame promoter, and damn, he should be, because every time Don King put on a show, they were damn good ones. Back in the old day and continues today. April 27th, he is promoting a card, The Quest for the Best, in Miami, Florida. Now, the problem I got with this, Don King was always one of these guys that will make up a championship belt. Well, these aren't makeups. They're just more part of the alphabet soup, because on that card, the WBA Conto Americas middleweight champion, Ian Green, against Ray Bannister. I mean, you got to know these guys fighting for alphabet soup titles to get them rated. And Don King is still trying to do that with. He's got an array of fighters still in his stable. They just don't fight as much because Don King doesn't promote many shows. But he's coming back April 27th. Don King said about this, it's a quest, a testament, relentless pursuit of greatness in the squared circle. Vintage Hall of Fame promoter Don King comment as he comes back with another show, Miami, Florida, April 27th. Sad news once again out of the boxing world, and rest in peace, Bob Lee. Bob Lee was the vice president once of the WBA, World Boxing Association, and got himself to form the IBF, which is a major sanctioning alphabet soup organization in the sport, the International Boxing Federation. I've known Bob Lee. I knew him. Lost contact. Didn't see him around the fight game much the last few years because he was not well. And he's known for a scandal in boxing, a ranking scandal. If you know the history, and you could look it up on social media, it's all over the place on Google. In 1999, that rocked the sport. He being the head and formatted the IBF, the International Boxing Federation. But overall, as much as I belittle alphabet boxing organizations, as I call them, alphabet soup, if you didn't have these organizations, the promoters could not put on the fights and shows that they do. As much as they get attacked and criticized, and I, for one, do it all the time and belittle them all the time because of the sanctioning fees. And if you get ranked by one of these organizations, as Bob Lee, the late Bob Lee, now did with the IBF, fighters got ranked, and they got into the spotlight, got into the championship fight opportunity, and that meant money for them. Bob Lee is one of the guys that did that and expanded it more globally with the International Boxing Federation, the IBF. Good guy, rocked with a scandal again back in 1999. Boxing's always been rocked by scandals and controversy. Bob Lee was no different, but a great human being who cared for fighters. Wish him, my God send wishes. Rest in peace, Bob Lee. I knew him when the IBF formed, and I got to say, as much as there was a scandal with Bob Lee in the IBF, with a ranking scandal, which wouldn't happen today at all. Many say it might. Bob Lee was good for the sport. And when he's with the WBA, he tried to improve things. And one thing that I admired about Bob Lee most of all, for those who didn't know him, he was for the safety and advancement of better medical protocols for fighters, physicals, and in the ring. to make sure that they were safe. He also advocated that fighters get their due credit. Larger purses. As an international organization, he fought for that with the IBF. Rest in peace, Bob Lee. We lost another good one, in my opinion, in the sport of boxing the past few days. All right, let's get to some UFC news, MMA. We do it all here on Keep It in the Ring every week. I'm Rich Mancuso. My social media handles, bottom of the screen, Facebook.com, X, formerly Twitter, Ring786. And also we're live here on Facebook and also at the Keep It in the Ring channel, at the AGT Network, and my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Like, subscribe, comment. Subscribe. It's free. We do this for you, the fans of boxing, wrestling, MMA, and so forth. MMA, UFC, Dana White. He's not a fan of Jake Paul, as I said moments ago. With Jake Paul and Tyson ready to fight in mid-July on Netflix, there is an age difference. I credit Dana White saying this. 31-year age difference. Paul needs to fight real opponents. So says Dana White, who was a part of WWE and the new Kikyo Endeavor and venture with USC Fight Pass as well. But he's trying to say here, Dana White telling Mike Tyson, you should not take this fight. Do not do it, because it could be dangerous if he gets hit by a legitimate and hard Jake Paul punch, if he does have a hard punch, Jake Paul. But he's telling Mike, not a fan. He's telling Jake Paul he's not a fan of this. He's telling Mike Tyson he's not a fan of this. The fight, though, still goes on. More MMA news out of the UFC. Controversial. Bring back memories of the ear bite of Tyson Holyfield and Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, the bite of the ear. I covered that fight in Vegas many years ago. Could still not believe what I saw. And every time I go back and look at the fight tape on that, I still can't believe. I'm bewildered what Mike Tyson did to Evander Holyfield, biting his ear to save him in that fight. However, Tyson and Holyfield have since made peace as Tyson mellowed out. But out of that book came Igor Severino in his MMA debut. UFC debut in Vegas, DQ'd. He took a bite of the ear of Andre Lima, and it was in his heavyweight debut. There it is, plain and simple. It's right there. Disqualified for biting his opponent. I wonder how many times he saw the Tyson Holyfield bite of the ear. It could have been just coincidental. You don't see this happen in the UFC and in MMA in the octagon, but it happened this past weekend. Andre Lima got the win via disqualification. Igor Severino has now, I understand, been released from the UFC in his MMA debut because of the bite of the ear. And give credit to the UFC or the MMA for doing that. That is definitely illegal. Now, remember, Mike Tyson was fined, suspended, whatever, for the bite of the ear. But, Igor, your MMA career was brief. It's your debut, and it's over because you resorted to the most illegal tactic. Was it accidental? He hasn't commented if it was. Was it intentional? He hasn't commented. I got to feel it was intentional based on that, what you saw on that image. Carl, put that image up again of the bite of the ear. Do you think that was intentional or not? To me, that looked like it was done purposely. A bite of the ear in the octagon. And that's supposed to be the most physical, brutal part of MMA, in the octagon. Anything can happen, but not a bite of the ear. Come on. And Conor McGregor has vowed to finally fight Michael Chandler. This had been talked about and in the works. All systems go, they say, in the summer, according to Conor McGregor, who'll be back in the octagon, and he's going to fight, he says, according to Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, though, based on what you know about him and Conor McGregor's inactivity, Michael Chandler beats Conor McGregor. I don't want Conor McGregor knocking at my door for saying that. Folks, that's a fact. McGregor hasn't been active. Chandler has. They're both tough tough grapplers. They both know their style in the octagon. But Chandler has been more active than McGregor. And according to Conor McGregor, he's just like Canelo Alvarez, making the fight. He says all systems to go for this fight in the octagon come September. All right, Carl, that segment's over with, thank goodness, because I got tired of talking about Ryan Garcia every week. But let's get to the fact of the week, and Carl will bring you in and take a shot at it. Anyone else out there, comment if you can get it, all to you. We got the fact of the week coming up with no guest again this week. Everyone's busy. Get Carl, roll the fact of the week. It's not the fact of the week till you roll it, my friend.
You got it.
Fact of the week. You ready, Carl?
I'm ready.
Takes us to the bottom of the hour and keep it in the ring. Two brother combinations ranked number one in their division in boxing. Two brother combinations once ranked number one in their division in the sport.
I would have to say the Paul
They're
brothers.
two brothers in their division, once ranked number one in that division.
Could it have been the Paul brothers?
No, because they were relatively new to boxing.
Okay, so this is old time.
No, it's not. It's relatively recent, within the last 20 years. Heavyweight division, there's the hint. Does anybody know, or do you know? It's so much better when I have a guest on the program that can take a crack at it, because Carl can cheat.
I try not to cheat. Be honest with you, I am not sure.
All right, let me get it. We got to get to the bottom of the hour before we move on to all the pro wrestling talk. How about the heavyweights, Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko, who held the reign on the heavyweight division for a long, long time. At one time, these two brothers in the heavyweight division, both champions who could not unify the title, and yet the heavyweight division is still not unified, the face of boxing. Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko at one time ranked number one in their division, which is incredible when you think about all the years of boxing history. But then again, you got to go back and to look at Donald and Bruce Curry as brother combinations in boxing that were really good champions. Leon and Michael Spinks, remember them?
Yep.
Okay. The late Leon, I think Leon passed, or was it Michael who passed? And then we had the Juan Marquez and Rafael Marquez. You know, they were brother combinations in sport. Also, not both ranked, though, like the Klitschko's number one in their division at one time, but great brother combinations in the illustrious sport of boxing over the years. All right, Carl, you didn't get the fact. Nobody did. And now it's time for us to close the fact of the week. It's not closed until you play the fact of the week.
And real quick, just to piggyback off of that Igor one, it was on the bicep here, and it was the opponent actually had it tattooed the next night of that.
I didn't see it. I didn't even see footage of it. I've only seen images of it.
Yeah, it's a full mouth bite. It's not like a couple of teeth. It's a full mouth bite.
Just a shame that happened. It really was. All right, you're watching Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's Carl Roberts, my great producer behind the scenes. We're live here at the AGT Network, my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso, and on Facebook as well at Keep It in the Ring. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm at Ring786 on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso to reach me. Subscribe to the channel, folks. We'd appreciate it. We'll be back. The Pro Wrestling Report coming up and much more. This is Keep It in the Ring. Stay with us. Back to Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso, live on my channel on YouTube, Facebook Live as well, and on the AGT network. Like, comment, and subscribe, folks. I'd like to hear from you. Let me know on my social media platforms at the bottom of the screen or here on the program. Appreciate hearing from you. And those who do, I try and get back to each and one of you the best I can. Carl Roberts, let's bring you in now as we go to the second half hour, more pro wrestling talk and a lot of that. I got this black pen and I got all this black on my hands now. It's, in wrestling, they say red, the blood leads to money. But the black ink on my hands, I don't know what that leads to, except that I'm clumsy. That's what it is. But it is WrestleMania season, and we're going to talk AEW first because they have Dynamite tonight. A new logo they unveiled as well. I like it. It's straightforward AEW, which means I now have to trade in my AEW hood that's all messed up anyway with the old logo and get the new one. They unveiled a new logo. They got new marketing people there, and they're trying to become this on their comeback trail, Tony Khan and AEW. I like that logo, Carl. I do like it, but let's center in on some of the things that are going on in AEW real quick. They have a Dynasty coming up. April 21st is their next pay-per-view. They're leading into those storylines now. But they've also announced a Double or Nothing after that in Vegas. Again, May 26th on pay-per-view. AEW and Tony Khan has said they're in the pay-per-view market, and it's leading to talks with other streams and maybe getting their own channel like WWE did. They'll save fans money by doing that, and they have to do it because they're developing a library of history in their 5-year existence, and that could happen soon. An announcement could happen at some point in the summer or early fall from what I'm hearing. But I thought last week on Dynamite, real quick, Edge and Copeland, Adam Copeland and Christian that was a Donnybrook. That was great. I enjoyed watching that. When we got off the air last week, I made sure I had to catch AEW Dynamite so I could see that. What did you think about that match? We have a photo of, you have an image. There it is. Edge with, you're seeing the blood too.
Yeah.
And Edge dominates matches like that. He knows how to do it.
And the best part is he's 50 years old. He left WWE, went to a fledgling company, and he's actually brought more eyes. In my opinion, he brought more eyes to the product.
Yeah.
He's working with younger talent besides his chasing the belt against Christian.
The belt meant nothing to him. It really didn't. And this became a great feud. I didn't think it may have dragged a little too long, but now it's over. And now we can see, we're going to find out where does Christian go from here. And I do believe that Edge and Christian will reunite and become a tag team again.
I believe so too. Now, also too, there was another history made on Dynamite. You had Hook versus Chris Jericho.
That was good too. Taz's younger son has become quite a young superstar in AEW.
Yes, and now Hook and Taz can turn around and say they both pinned Chris Jericho. So Chris Jericho put over Hook.
Yeah. He wanted Hook to get that opportunity. That's the real story, to show how good that young man is, because he has a future in the business. And with Taz there, he doesn't go to WWE. But you never know. You never know. That young man has become quite a young rising superstar in pro wrestling. All credit to him, and credit to Chris Jericho for giving him that opportunity and a great match last week on AEW programming. And now, Carl, let's move on to Swerve and Samoa Joe and that whole heavyweight title picture without MJF. Is it working without MJF?
To be honest with you, I don't think so. MJF is the one that holds that. He's the glue of that whole division for that belt. And
got the mouthpiece.
Joe, I really do, but It's just not working.
No. Well, Swerve may get that title as the good guy now. What are you hearing briefly about the status of MJF? You have the contacts I don't know more in the in wrestling industry as I once did.
So
what have you heard? Is MJF coming back to AEW, and if so, when?
He supposedly signed his contracts for an extension, okay? But he's also injured. So what the storyline is they took him off of everything. All his merchandise, everything, they took him off of the website. But they've done this before.
Yeah.
So now it's just known as, all right, where are they
all right,
playing
so
this out?
Briefly, you expect them back. We just don't know when.
Correct.
And probably for a good amount of money as well. He deserves it. He needs a time off to heal and also enjoy his life a little bit because he's been carrying that company for the longest. All right. Let's go to, unless you know anything else that might come out of Dynamite tonight, which I don't know.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, their ratings are not that great. Of course, they were battling the NCAA tournament the last week or so on the Turner Network, but their ratings are nowhere near WWE. So I don't know how they survive, but I mean they're up there, but they never cracked the million mark on any of their three platforms on the Turner Network, TBS, TNT. They never do. Anyway, WrestleMania season, and then Ronda Rousey comes out and making comments about the WWE. She never wrestled there again, but more so, she's been vocal about Vince McMahon and how bad he was to work with. What are your takes on Ronda Rousey and what she's saying about Vince McMahon all week?
So I have a good photo of her from when she was part of the WWE. But my personal opinion is everybody that has worked for there, when Vince McMahon was in charge, has something to say. Whether it's irrelevant to it or not, I don't know. But
she's very bitter. She's coming out with things we didn't know. And she claims that the Vince did not. What about the Saudi Arabia venture? With right. What did she say about Vince and Saudi Arabia that was disturbing?
So the way Saudi Arabia is over there is the males dominate the entire country.
Right.
Okay? The females are in the background, whatever. That's basically the way Vince was trying to do it when they go over there. Not have any of the female talents go over there because they're lower class. So this is all coming out now with all the lawsuits and all that stuff that's going on with him. But also, too, she's saying that if Triple H was running the company back when she was involved, she would have stayed.
Yeah, that goes to show more how bad Vince McMahon was behind the scenes. Now, and I've talked to one or more people that have worked there, including ex-talent, will say the same thing. It wasn't good to work with, and now it all came out since the sexual stuff, allegations, and he's in a lot of trouble. They wiped him away from history, but Ronda Rousey's being outspoken about it. Good for her. Here's Jay Cardo, and we're finding out she'll be at she's going to be with SmackDown. Finally, the long-awaited debut of Jay Cardo.
Yes,
talented young lady.
Was in the ring before.
Yeah, she was in the Royal Rumble.
Yes, she was in the Royal Rumble.
Now,
that was her debut.
She was SmackDown product, and I expect her to be at WrestleMania, one of those two nights. What she does, what role does she play, though? Undetermined, but she's going to be there.
Going to have a match at WrestleMania because she's still learning the WWE way.
Right. She they mold her in slowly, right, which was good because she's coming from AEW to there, and she had to get to know the talent, the routine, and all that stuff. That was a good move. Monday Night Raw, Monday night was fantastic. They're back to the Attitude Era, which is great.
Yes.
Blood and all these things going on there. It's WrestleMania season. WrestleMania is almost 12 days away or so, or something like that. The 2-night spectacle in Philadelphia. Yeah. But I thought it was fantastic Monday night, and what you saw with Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk in the ring. That was a great spot. Of course, Punk can speak well as anyone. And McIntyre, Rollins, and Punk, where is this developing? We know Punk's going to be the commentator, but you know, Carl, he's going to have an impact in that match with Rollins and McIntyre. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
He's not physically cleared totally to be in the ring. That's why he's not in a WrestleMania match. He's going to be the commentator, which is going to be fantastic with Cole and Graves. But where does Punk stand in all this?
I think he would be the next in line to challenge whoever wins the title, whether Seth retains the title or Drew finally achieves the title that everybody wants him to have. But what I loved about that whole segment was where Drew Trent says, you've been straight edge all your life, no drugs, no this, but you've been in rehab more times than anything. So he kind of put a personal jab right into it.
He did. I thought it was great. It was great TV attitude here, Monday Night Raw, and that was a great spot. And again, this WrestleMania, I think, is going to be dynamite, including Becky Lynch against Rhea Ripley. Mommy.
Here's the thing.
And they had a great promo, and I love the way Dom Mysterio took a shot at Becky nailed. I gotta get Becky in the boxing ring. She got a memoir coming out, her book as well, which I gotta get a copy of it. Yeah, I've read excerpts, and I gotta get the entire book. Fantastic. Also, that segment in the ring with the man Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley, that was good leading up to their title match. And many are expecting that Rhea Ripley will turn good and that Becky will get the title.
Now, here's an interesting thing that just came out a few hours ago. Becky's contract is up in 2 months.
Right.
And she hasn't signed yet.
So that might not give her the chance to get the title and the storyline and the development after WrestleMania.
Unless what they do is they turn and says, okay, you win the title, then you can resign. We give you the title if you resign right now.
See what happens. It's going to be an interesting women's match along with and we'll analyze the matches next week on the program more. Io Sky and Bailey. That's going to be good too. I'm glad to see that the WWF female division is going to be very busy and a big part of WrestleMania weekend, 2 nights. But this is the biggie, and I can't believe what we saw. This brought back the old days in the back in Chicago by the trucks, and you saw The Rock annihilate Cody Rhodes. He whispered in his ear at the beginning of the show, and now we know what he whispered about. This.
Yep.
I can't believe that was great. And it got you off your seat. It got you to talk about it and intensified more what's going to happen in WrestleMania on 2 nights with the Bloodline, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Unbelievable. The attitude area there, how Cody was annihilated. And of course, you know, he's going to be back probably even on SmackDown Friday, good and well and ready to go. And on the final Monday Night Raw Monday night in Brooklyn.
If you remember Friday night, Paul Heyman came out on Monday Night Raw and said, listen, Friday night, SmackDown, you come alone. Roman Reigns promises he'll come alone. Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk, what Paul Heyman's going to do when this is all over. The Bloodline breaking up with his ego with CM Punk maybe, too. Something leaked out today on social media. I saw the show McIntyre talking to Heyman in the back. I wonder what's going on there.
Here's another interesting thing about this whole thing with the Bloodline. A lot of the elders are going to be at WrestleMania.
Take a look. It's out. John Cena, The Undertaker, Steve Austin. The 3 of them will be at WrestleMania. Steve Austin, I believe, is going to play a role in the Reigns Rock and the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes match. So will John Cena. I think they're going to help Cody Rhodes finally finish the story on night 2. And the 3 of them haven't officially been announced to be there, but they will. Maybe not not Taker, but Cena there, and Stone Cold. That is going to be fantastic. Fantastic.
I would say at least 2 months now. It's been rumored that Stone Cold is training for WrestleMania for something to do with WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So maybe he is going to get involved with.
Well, it's not going to be the Stone Cold Steve Austin of old, but in the Attitude Era. But being there and getting involved in that match, that's going to make for some exciting theater for sure. That only adds to WrestleMania with all the rumors now. Who's going to win? What's going to happen? All right, take a look at this call. Again, we'll analyze WrestleMania next week in detail.
Right.
Goldust responded to The Rock.
Yep.
Dustin Runnels, Cody's older brother, is going after The Rock. And will he be at WrestleMania to help his brother?
No.
Okay.
Because he is signed with...
You know why? He's contracted with AEW.
Yes.
Contract still. So rule that out. But I found that to be interesting that he's commenting about his brother and Roman Reigns and The Rock. And because to close the wrestling segment, close the wrestling segment because we're running out of time, and we're going to take a brief break to wrap it up after this. How about this image? Paul Heyman and Steve Austin were talking about them together. Here they go. When Heyman and Austin had hair. How about me when I had hair? That's a young Paul Heyman as Paulie Dangerously. That's a young Stone Cold Steve Austin, though not Stone Cold Steve Austin there. What was his name there?
Steve Williams.
There you go. And they worked together and did it very well. All right, Carl, thanks for your insights. WrestleMania season. We'll give more on our predictions of the matches next week. As well, I will be on your program Friday night, right?
Just about to plug that. Yes, Friday night at 8 p.m. is the Main Event Podcast, which is all about combat sports and wrestling. And Mr. Rich Mancuso here is our guest at 8:30. So
we'll keep it in the ring. Thank you, Carl.
And
we'll take this brief time out. We're going to take a very brief time out and wrap it all up. I'm going to go back in the past and show you an image about a fight that happened in the 1980s with an interesting spotlight to it, and a couple of other boxing announcements that came out late today. You're watching Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Thanks for joining us. Back after this brief time out to wrap it all up. Stay with us. You know, I wanted to show this final segment off a YouTube video because it's out there if you want to see the whole fight in its entirety. But I remember covering this fight back in November of 1987. Doug DeWitt out of Yonkers, New York, who came out of a great stable of fighters up there during that era. 12 rounds was scheduled against Tony Thornton, and Doug DeWitt was a brawler. And you could tell at the end of a fight, his head was like a roadmap in the end with all the stitches he incurred. Top Rank ESPN had the fight. It's available on YouTube where we couldn't get it downloaded to play some of what we saw against Tony Thornton, he was a tough son of a gun as well. I covered that fight in Atlantic City, November 1987, Top Rank ESPN at the time. They had a weekly show on ESPN when ESPN was really getting strong at the time, and Top Rank was promoting shows more in Atlantic City. Before they went to Vegas, they were a New Jersey, South New Jersey promotional boxing company with Bob Arum, the Hall of Fame promoter. Show the final round, Carl. There's DeWitt and Thornton. Now, normally championship fights go 12 rounds, but this was an exception. After 12, these two, DeWitt and Thornton, had to go. In other words, it did not. They went to the judges' scorecards and saw that it was going to be a draw. All right. That time, 2 judges at ringside and the referee, not 3. That all changed because of safety protocols after Mancini Duke Hakim, and they changed everything around. They had the 3 judges. The referee had no more impact or bearing in the scoring. But here you see DeWitt and Thornton, and because of a USBA rule, because this was for the USBA title, Alphabet Soup back then too, in 1987, because of the draw that went after 12, they decided to make this a 13-round fight, so we had a decisive winner. You didn't see that in boxing ever, even in the old days, except because they went 15 rounds. At this time, they were going 12 rounds because of medical protocols, and they changed the whole system from 15-round championship fights to 12. But they decided, the USBA, the lone Alphabet Soup organization, to make this rule. If after 12 rounds, judges were split even on everything, you had to go with 13 to have a decisive winner, especially in a championship fight. This one, again, was for the Alphabet Soup USBA title. The vacant title, too, which added to it. In the end, Doug DeWitt won that 13 round with an array of punches to Tony Thornton, and it was 124, 124, 125, 123, 124, 123. Doug DeWitt got the win. In the 13th round, decided it. November 1987, Atlantic City, at the old Sands Hotel, I believe. Yeah. Doug DeWitt, 13 rounds, and became the USBA middleweight champion against Tony Thornton. To decide it, they went 13 rounds. Can you imagine if boxing did that today, my friends? That would be really interesting, because you know how many 12-round fights become draws, especially championship fights, and to have a 13th round to decide it? Hey, I like that. I'm a proponent of that. Why don't we do it? If you can't make fights 15 rounds and you got to go 12 to get a decisive winner, and after 12 you don't have one, what's the difference? Go one more round. They always used to go 15 when championship rounds really counted in the sport years ago. Interesting. Catch that fight on YouTube. It is available. That's how I found it. And I'm glad I was able to show you an image, at least, of that 13th and final round. All right, other boxing notes that came up today. Matchroom announced their newest signee, Subriel Matias, will make his homecoming return in Puerto Rico in his first fight with Matchroom on the Zone, defending the IBF Junior Welterweight title versus Leon Paro at the Coliseo Abreu in Manatí, Puerto Rico. That's Saturday, June 15th on the Zone. It will be the opponent here, Paro, 24-0, 15 knockouts against the exciting Subriel Matias, who is a contender in that division, in the junior welterweight title division, and a significant fight for Matias. Homecoming in Puerto Rico. He wins that fight. Well, he's already in a championship mix at junior welterweight 140. He wins that fight, then he's really, really considered in that title mix, and he's looking forward to it. And it's going to be the first time since November 2019 that Subriel Matias gets to fight back home in Puerto Rico. Now, he's not a young man as well. So he has the experience, and so does his opponent, Paro. So look forward to that one coming up and seeing this exciting sort of veteran in Matias in the junior welterweight division. And top-ranked, newly signed middleweight contender Christian Mabili. Have you seen him fight? Undefeated? Huh. Well, you need to see this guy, super middleweight with power and speed, and a good one he is, undefeated. Defends his WBA, International, WBC, let me get this right, Continental American titles, more Alphabet Soup, but that's how you get rated, and that's how you move up the ladder some more. 10 rounds versus Mark Hepburn, Saturday, May 25th in Shanington, Canada. That being on ESPN Plus, Top Rank debuting their new super middleweight contender, Christian Mabili. I've seen him fight already. Exciting young fighter, power, speed, and has all the components of a great fighter, a champion he can be. All right, so the fights are being made every day. More and more announcements about fights, whether they're title fights or eliminators or whatever. The boxing world is busy. After all, as I always say, we are in boxing season. But then again, if you're a boxing nut and passion for it like I am, boxing season is every day, isn't it? It sure is. And we had a whole lot of that on the program tonight. Don't forget, Amazon Prime pay-per-view. If you order it, it's going to be a good show. Good broadcast. Good to see some of the Showtime crew announcing it. PBC Amazon Prime debut Saturday night, Las Vegas. No Keith Thurman, but you're still getting a good one. Katsuzu against the Towering Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, and of course Romero against Pitbull Cruz should be also another one. Both title fights and great fights underneath that as well. Some of the fights, the undercard also being a part if you have Amazon Prime as your subscription. But my contested part about all this is this, and this must be knocked out, as they say in boxing terms. You're paying a subscription for a streaming service, and on top of that, when there's a pay-per-view fight of significant magnitude as this is, and you're seeing this more too often, you have to go for the extra pay-per-view money as well. Not fair to you, the boxing fan, who has to watch the fights now. And if you're a big fan of it and have the passion for it, want to watch boxing, you got to go to the streaming networks and pay your monthly or yearly fees, and that can add up as much as watching 1 or 2 pay-per-views or 3 a year. And there are more than 3, 4, 5 boxing pay-per-views per year. There needs to be reform on that. Will we ever see it? No. And why we'll never see it is because it brings in too much revenue. Streaming networks, the promoters, and most of all, the fighters make money off of this. At least we think they do. So the day of free boxing television is over, except if you have an ESPN cable subscription where you can still watch it. Other than that, now, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Peacock also in the boxing game. Who else? You name it. Thriller. They're another one. They're on and on. That's how you're going to watch boxing today, folks. It's not fair to you, the fan, and there needs to be reform with that, but that's never going to happen because boxing reform never happens. That's why. Everybody's in it for one thing, the almighty dollar, money. That's another story for another time. Quick hour or more here on the program this week. Thank you, Carl Roberts, once again for doing a great job behind the scenes. I work him hard for a few days to get this all together. Thank you for watching as always. Remember, we're live every week here on the program. It seems like we're going Wednesday nights at 10 Eastern, 8 Eastern time. Watch the social media to see when we're on again, or the replays, or don't watch it all. Whatever you want to do, I'm here to give you what you got to get. So, I'm at social media again, Twitter, formerly X. Now it's X, formerly Twitter, whatever. Ring786, Rich Mancuso. Get me there. Also on Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Live on my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It's free. I appreciate that. And also live on the AGT network as well. Do the same there. And Facebook Live on our Keep It in the Ring page where we're seen also every week. So, enjoy the fights this weekend. Be good to each other. Stay well. And most of all, as I always say, till next week, keep it in the ring, everyone. Thank you for watching.